Sometimes life just hurts, doesn't it? People say things that sting, days fall apart, and it feels like no matter what you do, something always pulls you back down. Maybe it's someone's harsh words, or maybe it's just that quiet, lonely chaos that keeps visiting you at night. But what if I told you, yes, you, that there's a way to stay calm no matter what happens? Not because life suddenly gets easier, but because you become steadier. That's what today is about. If you ever felt tired of being tossed around by emotions, then take a breath and stay with me till the end of this video. You'll see, it might change how you move through life. And hey, before we go deeper, if you find something here that speaks to your heart, don't forget to hit subscribe and leave me a small comment. Tell me how you're feeling right now. I read them all. Let's start with something simple. People will insult you. That's life. Maybe the friend who snaps at you, or a stranger online who says something unkind. It happens to all of us. But here's a thought I learned from Buddhist wisdom. What if every insult, every harsh word, is just a small test? A moment for you to grow? You don't have to see it as an attack. You can see it as a lesson, an invitation to practice patience or compassion, or maybe just silence. Sometimes the best way to win is not to react. You know, when someone lashes out, it usually says more about what they're going through than about who you are. People who hurt others are often carrying pain they don't know how to release. And if you can remember that, even when you feel your heart burning, something shifts inside you. You stop taking everything so personally. You breathe. You let go. A while ago, someone left a pretty mean comment on one of my videos. I could have fired back. I could have explained, defended, argued. But instead, I just sat there for a moment and said to myself, maybe they're having a bad day. And I moved on. You know what? My peace stayed intact. That was my small victory. The truth is, you don't need to let other people decide how you feel. What they say is their story, not yours. You get to write your own. Maybe their words poke at something inside you, something you haven't healed yet, and that's okay. It's an invitation to look deeper, not to fight back. I think sometimes we forget that our emotions are ours. We hand them over so easily. We let someone's opinion ruin our whole morning. Someone's tone ruin our whole day. But no one can truly control how you feel unless you give them permission. So next time someone's words sting, pause for a second. Ask yourself, why does this bother me so much? Maybe you'll realize it's not about them. Maybe it's just something you haven't forgiven yourself for. When you begin to take back that control, something soft happens. You stop reacting and you start responding. You stop defending and you start understanding. That's the quiet power of inner peace. Let me tell you about Mary. She's 68, gentle soul, lives in Florida. One day, at a family dinner, her grandson said something cruel. He called her old and useless. Everyone froze. For a moment, her eyes watered. Then she smiled, looked at him, and said, "You'll understand the gift of years one day." That was it. No lecture, no anger, just grace. Later, she told me, I didn't want to lose my peace over a child's mistake. And that night, I realized peace isn't about controlling everything. It's about not letting everything control you. We can't stop people from saying mean things. We can't stop life from throwing surprises at us. But we can choose how to meet them. That's where strength is born, in that small gap between what happens and how you respond. Try this. The next time something or someone shakes you, imagine you're standing by the ocean. Waves crash around your feet, cold water, rough wind. But you just breathe. You're not fighting the waves. You're letting them come and go. because that's what emotions do. They rise, they fall, and if you stop clinging to them, they pass. You're still there, solid, steady. Maybe that's what all these teachings are really about. Not becoming emotionless, not becoming a stone, but becoming still inside. To know that it's okay to feel hurt. It's okay to feel angry, but you don't have to stay there. Feel it, breathe it, release it. Life will always have noise, but peace is the quiet you choose to keep. If you practice this slowly, gently, you'll start noticing little changes. Someone says something harsh, and you don't flinch. You get stuck in traffic, and instead of snapping, you breathe. A plan fails, and instead of panicking, you say, maybe it's okay. Maybe it's not meant to be today. And that's growth. Not loud, not flashy, just steady. So, if any of this feels familiar, if you've been through days that try to break you, remember this. You're allowed to feel everything, but you don't have to lose yourself to it. You can stand calm in the middle of the storm. You can be soft and still strong. And if this message touched something inside you, take a second to like this video, share it with someone who needs to hear it tonight, and hit subscribe so you and I can keep walking this journey together. Because peace isn't something we find. It's something we practice again and again in the smallest of moments. Welcome back, my friend. Take a breath. Let's slow down for a moment. In part 1, we talk about staying calm when life throws insults or chaos your way, about protecting your peace. Now, let's go a little deeper. Let's talk about what happens next. When people around you keep making mistakes, when things don't go the way you hoped, when you feel that familiar pull to react. You know that feeling, right? Someone forgets a promise. A coworker messes up a task you worked so hard on. A friend snaps at you for no reason. And there's this voice inside saying, why can't they just do better? But here's something that's changed my own life. You can demand excellence from yourself while offering grace to others. It's not easy, but it's powerful. Most of us flip it the other way around. We excuse our own bad days, but expect others to be perfect. But when you turn that around, when you hold yourself to a higher standard, not from pride, but from love, something inside you shifts. You start living with intention. You start walking gently, not because people deserve it, but because peace does. Grace doesn't mean letting people walk over you. It means understanding that everyone's fighting invisible battles. Maybe that person who snapped at you just got bad news. Maybe that driver who cut you off is rushing to someone sick. We don't know, but we can choose not to add more pain to the world by reacting in anger. And the truth is, when you give grace, you grow lighter. Your shoulders relax. Your heart feels less crowded. You stop trying to control everyone's behavior, and instead, you start mastering your own. I'll tell you a story. There's a man I know named Michael. He's 72, a retired teacher. One day, his neighbor accidentally backed into his mailbox, completely destroyed it. Michael walked outside, looked at the dented metal, looked at the shaking young man in the car, and instead of yelling, he smiled and said, I guess the mailbox needed an update anyway. Then he helped him pick it up. Later, I asked him, why didn't you get angry? He just laughed softly and said, I've been angry enough times in life to know it never fixes anything. That's grace. And it's wisdom. Think about how different your life feels when you stop reacting to everything. When you choose calm over chaos. When you look at a mistake and say, it's okay, maybe I can learn something here. You see, every single interaction, the good ones and the bad ones, carries a tiny lesson. Maybe patience, maybe empathy, maybe how to let go. And if you start looking for lessons instead of fences, life becomes gentler. It doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you start caring differently, more quietly, more wisely. Sometimes people confuse stillness with weakness, but calmness isn't the absence of strength. It's proof of it. Anyone can explode. Anyone can shout. But it takes real power to stay soft when life gets loud. Here's what I do when I feel that urge to react. I pause, breathe, and whisper to myself, maybe this is a lesson, not an attack. Just that one sentence can change the energy of the moment. It reminds you that you're not a victim of other people's moods. You're the guardian of your own peace. You don't need to win every argument. You don't need to fix every misunderstanding. Some things are better left to the quiet. Let life teach its own lessons to those who need them. And you know what's beautiful? When you stop reacting, people notice. They start to feel safe around you. They trust your energy. You become that calm presence everyone seeks when the world feels too heavy. You become, in a way, a living example of peace, not because you preach it, but because you are it. Let me share something personal. Years ago, I was in a heated conversation with a close friend. We were both hurt, saying things we didn't mean. In the middle of it, I stopped talking. I just looked at them, and for the first time, I saw the fear in their eyes, not anger. It hit me. They weren't trying to hurt me. They were scared of losing me. That moment changed everything. Sometimes grace is seeing the pain behind someone's behavior. When you can see that, truly see it, forgiveness becomes natural. And forgiveness, my friend, is peace in motion. When life gets noisy, try to listen for the quiet lesson hiding beneath. Every tough person, every conflict, every disappointment. It's a small teacher disguised as trouble. The sooner you learn, the faster the storm passes. And remember this, emotions are visitors. They come, they knock, they leave. You don't have to invite them to stay. You can let anger visit without serving it tea. You can let sadness sit without giving it your whole couch. Let it pass, because it always does. So if today you're carrying something heavy, a fight, a hurt, a disappointment, maybe just set it down for a while. You don't have to fix it all tonight. You don't have to have every answer. Just breathe, let grace in, and let life unfold. And if this talk helped you find even a small moment of peace, I'd love it if you'd subscribe to this channel. That way, you won't miss the next chapter. We'll talk about learning through every interaction and staying grounded no matter what happens. Also, share this video with someone who's been struggling lately. Maybe it'll be the whisper they need tonight. Until next time, remember, grace is not weakness. It's quiet strength dressed in understanding. Stay soft, stay kind, and stay at peace, no matter what comes your way. Hey, it's good to see you again. Before we begin, take a breath with me. In and out. Let your shoulders relax. Let today be lighter. In the last part, we talked about grace, how to hold yourself to high standards while forgiving others. Now, we're going even deeper, because sometimes, even when you give grace, life still hurts. Things don't go your way. People leave. Plans fall apart. And you start asking, why is this happening to me? I've been there. And maybe you have too. But what if, instead of fighting those moments, you simply let them be? What if peace doesn't come from controlling everything, but from accepting that not everything is yours to control? If you're new here, welcome. I share stories and reflections to help you find calm in a noisy world. So if you want more moments like this, go ahead and subscribe and stay till the end, because what we're about to talk about might change how you carry pain forever. Acceptance doesn't mean giving up. It means saying, okay, this is what it is right now. It's about making peace with the present, even when the present isn't what you planned. You see, so much of our suffering doesn't come from what's happening. It comes from wishing it were different. When you stop fighting reality, something beautiful happens. Your heart stops breaking over things you can't change. You stop asking life to be fair, and instead, you start flowing with it, like a river moving around rocks instead of trying to break them. I remember losing a job years ago, a job I thought defined me. I was angry, ashamed, scared. For weeks I kept thinking, this shouldn't have happened. But then one morning, while walking by the lake, I whispered to myself, maybe it's okay. Just that, maybe. And that tiny moment of acceptance felt like a window opening. A few months later, I found work that brought me peace instead of pressure. Looking back, I realized the loss wasn't punishment. It was redirection. That's what acceptance does. It opens space for life to surprise you. Let me tell you about Evelyn. She's 64, a widow, gentle and strong. After her husband passed, she spent months trying to stay busy, pretending she was fine. But grief has its own pace. One night, she finally sat in silence and said, I can't fix this. I just have to feel it. She cried for hours, not out of weakness, but out of release. She told me later, that was the first night I really started healing. Acceptance doesn't erase pain, but it softens it. It gives pain a place to breathe, and when pain breathes, it moves. We can't force life to match our timeline. We can only meet it where it is. Maybe the plan failed because something better needs time to arrive. Maybe someone left because you're meant to meet yourself again. It's okay not to understand everything now. You don't need to rush healing. You just need to stop resisting it. When things fall apart, our instinct is to hold tighter. But life is wiser than our grip. Sometimes it's removing something that can't grow with us anymore. Acceptance is trusting that what leaves makes space for what's meant. There's a quote I love, what you resist persists. The more we fight reality, the more it fights back. But when you breathe and whisper, okay, I'll let it be, you suddenly find peace waiting right there beside you. And that brings us to something even deeper. Detachment. It sounds cold, but it's not. Detachment isn't about not caring. It's about caring freely without clinging. It's saying, I love you, but I don't need to control you. Or, I'll give my best, but I won't let the outcome decide my peace. We live in a world that teaches us to attach to people, to praise, to possessions. We think happiness means holding on. But real peace often means letting go. Not because you stop loving, but because you start trusting. Think about it. How many times have you been hurt because you expected something to stay the same forever? People change. Circumstances shift. Everything in life moves like the tide. When you stop fighting that movement, you begin to flow with it. You can still love deeply and hope sincerely, but without the fear of losing. Because love that's free from fear, that's real love. Imagine holding sand in your palm. The tighter you grip, the more it slips away. But if you open your hand and let it rest, it stays. That's what detachment looks like. Holding gently, allowing things to be what they are. When you practice this, life starts to feel lighter. You still care, you still try, but you're not crushed when things don't go your way. You can look at someone walking away and whisper, thank you for the lesson. You can look at a plan falling apart and think, maybe this too has a reason. That's strength, the quiet kind. And while you're learning to let go, remember to take care of yourself. You're not a machine. You're human. You get tired, you break down, you need rest. And that's okay. Self-care isn't selfish. It's self-respect. You can't pour from an empty cup. Take time to breathe, walk, stretch, or just sit by the window with a cup of tea. Protect your peace the way you protect someone you love, because you deserve that same tenderness. And please, don't apologize for needing time alone. Silence isn't laziness. It's medicine. So tonight, before you go to sleep, I want you to try something. Close your eyes and whisper, I accept what I cannot change. I release what's not mine to carry. Do that for a few nights, and you'll feel something shift inside you, a little more space, a little more light. Life doesn't have to be perfect to be peaceful. It just needs your presence, your gentle willingness to let things be as they are. If this message brought you calm, please like this video and subscribe for the next part. We'll talk about gratitude and how it can turn even pain into peace. And if someone you know is struggling to move on, share this with them. It might be the reminder they need tonight. Until next time, keep breathing, keep trusting, and keep letting go. Because you're not broken, you're becoming. Hey, welcome back. If you made it this far, I'm really glad you're here. We've walked through storms together, learning to stay calm, to forgive, to let go. But now, let's talk about something simple that can turn even the hardest days into softer ones: gratitude. Not the kind of gratitude you post on social media. Not the forced, I should be thankful type. I mean the quiet, personal kind, the one you whisper to yourself when no one's watching. Maybe you're not where you want to be. Maybe life feels heavy. That's okay. But tonight, as we talk, I want you to remember, peace doesn't always come from big changes. Sometimes it starts with two small words. Thank you. And hey, if this kind of quiet talk helps you breathe a little easier, take a second to subscribe and join this space. We build peace together here, one story at a time. Gratitude isn't about ignoring pain. It's about looking at life through a softer lens. It says, yes, this hurts, but maybe something inside me is still okay. It's easy to focus on what's missing: the job you lost, the friend who stopped calling, the health that isn't what it used to be. But gratitude gently shifts your gaze. It teaches you to see what's still here: the warmth of your tea, the sound of rain, the fact that your heart, after everything, still beats for another day. When you start noticing these little things, life starts to change quietly. You become less reactive, more peaceful. It doesn't mean you stop wanting better things. It just means you stop letting what's missing blind you to what's present. There's a man I met named Harold, 75, widowed, used to be a carpenter. He told me something that stuck with me. After his wife passed, he couldn't stand mornings. The house felt too quiet. Every cup of coffee reminded him of her absence. Then one morning he said, I just decided to say thank you for one thing: the coffee being hot. That was it. Every day after, he found one more thing to thank for: the sunlight through the curtains, the sound of birds, the memories that made him smile instead of ache. He said, the grief didn't disappear, but gratitude gave it somewhere to rest. That's what it does. Gratitude doesn't erase sadness. It just helps you hold it with gentler hands. You know, when you say, thank you, something happens in the body. The breath slows. The heart rate drops. It's like your whole system hears. You're safe right now. That's the secret of gratitude. It brings you home to the present. And the present, my friend, is the only place where peace actually lives. So when things go wrong, when the plan fails or the people disappoint you, try this tiny question: what can I still be thankful for in this moment? Maybe it's the lesson you're learning. Maybe it's that you're still breathing through it. Even the smallest thank you changes the tone of the moment. Let me tell you about Rosa. She's 62, live alone, has arthritis that makes every step painful. But every evening, she sits on her porch, watches the sunset, and says softly, "Thank you for another day I got to see the sky." She once told me, "Gratitude doesn't take my pain away, but it keeps me company while it's here." That line, I never forgot it, because that's what we all need, something that keeps us company when life feels too heavy to carry alone. Gratitude can be that companion. Here's something you can try tonight. Before bed, write down 3 small things you're thankful for. Not big, impressive things, just small ones. Maybe, I had a good meal. Maybe, my friend texted me today. Maybe, I made it through another hard day. If writing isn't your thing, just whisper it, out loud, to yourself. This isn't about pretending life is perfect. It's about reminding your heart that it's still capable of seeing light, even in the dark. Do that for a week. I promise you'll feel something shift. Not dramatically, but quietly, like a fog lifting. See, gratitude and acceptance are sisters. Acceptance helps you stop fighting the storm. Gratitude teaches you to notice the rainbow that comes after. And when you practice both, you stop needing life to be perfect before you can be at peace. Because let's be honest, perfection never comes. There will always be something undone, something missing, something we wish had gone differently. But if you can still find reasons to whisper, "Thank you," in the middle of that, you've already won. That's emotional strength. The kind that doesn't shout, doesn't need applause, just breathes and keeps going. You might think, "But my life doesn't look like what I hoped." I get it, truly. But maybe, just maybe, it's still beautiful in ways you haven't noticed yet. Maybe the challenges shaped you into someone more understanding. Maybe the disappointments made room for new beginnings. Maybe everything you've been through brought you here, to this very moment, listening, breathing, healing. If you can thank life for that, even just a little, you've already started to heal. So tonight, I want you to do one small thing. Before you close your eyes, whisper, "Thank you, life, for keeping me here. No matter what today brought, you showed up, you're still learning, you're still growing." And that's enough. If this video touched you, give a like, share it with someone who's been feeling lost lately, and subscribe if you haven't yet. Because next time, we'll talk about how to protect your peace through daily rituals that nourish your body and mind. You're doing better than you think. You're healing in ways you can't yet see. And I'm proud of you for being here, still listening, still trying. So, thank you for sharing this moment with me. And remember, gratitude isn't about changing life. It's about seeing it differently. Hi there, welcome back. Before anything else, take a deep breath with me. Inhale slowly and let it out. Feel that? That's the start of peace. It's not something far away or complicated. It begins right here, right now. We've talked about gratitude, about letting go, about finding grace when life feels heavy. But how do you live this peace every day? How do you make calm not just a moment, but a lifestyle? That's what we're going to talk about tonight. Simple, everyday rituals that keep your heart steady and your mind clear, even when the world gets loud. And if this kind of slow, quiet space helps you feel more grounded, don't forget to subscribe and stay close. This channel is a home for calm souls, people like you and me who are learning to live gently, one day at a time. You see, peace isn't something you chase. It's something you build, brick by brick, breath by breath, through the little things you do every day. You can't always control the storms outside, but you can strengthen the house inside. And that house, it's made of habits. Not grand, perfect ones, but small, quiet choices that say, I care about my peace. Maybe it's how you wake up in the morning. Maybe it's what you tell yourself before bed. Maybe it's the way you treat your body or the words you use when you talk to yourself. These things shape your inner world far more than you realize. Let's start with morning. Before checking your phone, before turning on the noise, just sit still for a moment. Feel your breath. Say something kind to yourself. Something simple like, today I'll try to stay gentle. Then if you can, step outside, even for 1 minute. Feel the sunlight, the air on your skin, the sound of birds. You don't have to meditate perfectly. You just have to notice that life is happening around you, and you're part of it. Maybe make a warm drink. Sip it slowly. That's it. That's your first ritual. A peaceful start sets the rhythm for everything that follows. Because mornings are not about rushing. They're about aligning. When you begin your day with intention, the rest of it unfolds with more grace. Then, throughout the day, come back to yourself whenever you can. Pause between tasks. Take one slow breath before you answer a text or an email. When something frustrates you, don't react immediately. Just give yourself that one heartbeat of space. It's enough to change the whole tone of your day. Here's something that helps me. I call it the pause of kindness. Every time I feel tension, whether it's traffic, a rude comment, or a bad memory, I pause, put my hand on my heart, and whisper, maybe it's okay. It sounds small, but that pause has saved me from so many unnecessary storms. And you can do it anywhere. In the grocery line, in your car, even during a difficult conversation. That one breath, that one whisper of calm, is a bridge back to yourself. I remember talking to Margaret, a lovely woman in her 70s. She used to wake up anxious every morning, worrying about her health, her grown kids, her bills. I couldn't stop my mind, she told me. It was like a radio that never turned off. So I asked her to try something simple, 3 slow breaths before getting out of bed, and saying one thing she was grateful for. After a few weeks, she said, my mornings still have worries, but they don't own me anymore. That's the power of routine, not in changing the world outside, but in changing how you meet it. Now, let's talk about nights, the time when peace is hardest to find. Before bed, make it sacred. Dim the lights, play soft music, or just sit quietly for 5 minutes. Reflect, but gently. Don't judge the day. Don't count what went wrong. Instead, ask yourself, what did I learn today? Write it down if you can, even one line. Something like, I was patient when I wanted to be angry, or I listened more today. These small reflections slowly teach your mind that every day, no matter how ordinary, carries growth. And right before you close your eyes, whisper again those simple words. Thank you. I made it through today. Because you did. And that's worth honoring. You see, self-care isn't about luxury. It's about responsibility. The responsibility to nurture your energy, your mind, and your spirit. Because when you don't, you break down and the world feels heavier than it is. Drink water. Move your body, even just a little. Spend time with someone who makes you laugh. Or if you're tired, rest without guilt. You're not a machine. You're a living being deserving of softness. There's nothing lazy about choosing peace. There's nothing selfish about choosing rest. Sometimes rest is the most spiritual thing you can do. Think of these rituals as gentle anchors. The world will always move fast. People will rush. Plans will fail. Noise will rise. But when you have these quiet anchors, you never drift too far from your center. Your morning breath, your afternoon pause, your evening gratitude. They bring you back home to you. And when life feels like too much, you can always return there. Because peace doesn't mean a life without storms. It means learning how to stand in the rain without drowning. So, if tonight you feel a little lost, a little restless, try just one ritual, one breath, one moment, one quiet act of kindness toward yourself. Don't wait for peace to arrive someday. Build it today in tiny steps. If this message touched you, please like this video, share it with someone who needs a moment of calm, and subscribe so we can keep walking together through these conversations. And before you leave, do one small thing. Put your hand on your heart and whisper, "I'm doing my best." Because you are. You truly are. Peace isn't found in the noise of the world. It's found in the quiet choices you make every single day. So tonight, rest well, breathe deeply, and remember, you are stronger, softer, and braver than you think. Hey, welcome back. I'm glad you came. You could have been scrolling anywhere right now, but you chose to slow down, and that already says something about you. We've talked about peace, gratitude, and daily rituals. But there's one thing that ties them all together. One skill that turns peace from a feeling into a foundation. It's called emotional resilience. It doesn't mean you never fall apart. It means when you do, you know how to find your way back. You bend, but you don't break. You feel everything, but you don't let it swallow you. And if you've been struggling lately, if life feels shaky, uncertain, unpredictable, then this part is for you. Stay with me until the end. You might hear exactly what you need tonight. Emotional resilience isn't about pretending you're okay. It's about knowing you will be okay, even when you're not right now. It's what lets you say, "This hurts, but I'll heal." It's what helps you stand up again after life knocks you down, even when your legs are trembling. Resilience doesn't come from never being hurt. It grows from being hurt and healing anyway. Every time you face something that felt impossible and survive, your roots grow a little deeper. You may not see it, but you've already done this 100 times. Remember the day you thought you couldn't get through, but somehow you did? That's resilience. You've been stronger than you realize all along. I once met a woman named Helen at a small meditation class. She was in her late 60s, and when I asked her what brought her there, she said, "Grief. I lost my son 5 years ago, and for a long time I thought I died with him." Her voice was steady, calm in a way that only people who've been through storms can be. She said, "One morning, I realized that pain wasn't asking me to give up, it was asking me to grow up." She started small, taking walks, cooking meals, watching the sunrise again. Every day she whispered to herself, "I'm still here." And that became her anchor. Now, she smiles easily, not because life got easier, but because she got steadier. That emotional resilience, quiet, humble strength built moment by moment. So, how do you build that kind of steadiness? Not through control, not through pretending. Through practice. You build resilience the same way you build muscle, by using it. Every time life challenges you and you choose to respond with patience instead of panic, you're strengthening it. Start by noticing your reactions. When something goes wrong, a plan fails, someone disappoints you, or anxiety creeps in, pause. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" try asking, "What is this trying to teach me?" That question alone shifts your energy from victimhood to growth. Then breathe. Remind yourself that feelings are temporary. All of them. The sadness, the anger, the fear, they rise, they peak, and they fade. They are waves. You are the ocean. Have you ever watched the sea during a storm? The surface goes wild. but the deeper layers stay still. That's what resilience is, learning to live from the depth, not the surface. You can't stop the waves, but you can choose how deep you stand. The deeper you go, the less the storm can move you. And when the waves finally calm, you'll see you were never really broken. You were being reshaped. Most of us try to escape pain. We distract. We rush. We hide behind busyness or noise. But real resilience grows when you sit with what hurts. Breathe through it and let it move through you. Don't numb your feelings. Honor them. They're not the enemy. They're just messages. They say, something needs care here. If you can learn to listen without judging, you'll start healing in places you didn't even know were wounded. Maybe your resilience starts in small ways, like smiling in the line at the grocery store is too long, or forgiving yourself for being tired, or showing up again after you failed yesterday. Every little act of trying again, that's you building strength. That's you saying, I refuse to be defined by what breaks me. Resilience is made of ordinary moments, not grand victories. It's quiet courage shown in small, invisible ways that no one sees, but that change everything. There's a man named Joe I once spoke with online. He told me he used to have panic attacks every night after losing his job. For months, he'd wake up drenched in sweat, heart pounding. Then one night, instead of fighting it, he sat on the floor, breathing through the fear. He whispered to himself, it's just fear, not forever. He kept doing that, night after night, until the panic lost its power. Now, when things get hard, he says, I've met worse nights. And that line always gives me chills. You see, resilience isn't about avoiding storms. It's about remembering you've already survived them. Here's something most people don't tell you. Resilience doesn't always feel strong. Sometimes it feels like crying and still getting out of bed. Sometimes it feels like saying, I'm not okay, but showing up anyway. Strength doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers, keep going. Maybe you're in a season like that right now. Everything uncertain, everything fragile. If that's you, hear this. You are not weak. You are rebuilding. And rebuilding takes time, patience, and heart. Tonight, I want you to remember, life doesn't get easier. You get steadier. Every setback, every loss, every hard day is shaping you quietly. You're not falling apart. You're unfolding. You're learning to live from your center. You're learning to be unshaken. So when the next storm comes, take a deep breath and whisper, I've been here before and I'm still standing. If this message brought you comfort or reminded you of your own strength, please like this video, share it with someone who's struggling, and subscribe for the next part, where we'll talk about how to find peace through connection and how the people around you can either drain or heal your spirit. And before you leave, take one deep breath. Feel it. You're still here. And that means there's more to come, and it's going to be beautiful. Take a deep breath before we begin. In and out. Feel that? That's your reminder that you're still here, still breathing, still learning. We spent the last few chapters building peace from within, learning to let go, to stay grounded, to be resilient. But even the strongest soul needs connection, because healing doesn't happen in isolation. It happens in the small spaces between us, in conversations, in kindness, in moments when we realize we're not alone. Maybe lately you've been keeping everything inside. Maybe you feel like no one really gets you. I get it. I've been there too. But tonight, I want to show you something gentle. How connection, when it's rooted in compassion, can become one of the most powerful medicines for your heart. And if this message feels like something you've needed to hear for a while, take a second to subscribe and stay close. We're building a circle here, a place where peace isn't just talked about, it's shared. Humans aren't meant to heal alone. We're wired for togetherness. Even the most peaceful person needs to be seen, heard, and understood. But here's the tricky part. Not all connections heal. Some connections drain us. Others lift us. The difference lies in energy, the kind of presence people bring into your life. Some people speak from their wounds. Others speak from their healing. The first group pulls you into their chaos. The second reminds you of your calm. And the truth is, both will appear in your life, sometimes in the same day. The key is learning to stay kind without losing yourself, to listen without absorbing, to care deeply without carrying what's not yours. Let me tell you a story about an old man named Thomas I first met at a small retreat. He was 81, quiet, eyes like morning sunlight. During lunch one day, a younger attendee lost his temper, shouting over something small, red-faced with anger. Everyone froze. But Thomas just smiled softly and said, "It's okay. He's just in pain." Later, I asked him how he could stay so calm. He said, "Because years ago I was him." That's compassion, not pity, not superiority, but recognition. Seeing your past self in someone else's storm. And when you look at people that way, their chaos stops feeling personal. You see that most anger, cruelty, or coldness isn't evil. It's unhealed pain wearing armor. When you meet that pain with calm understanding, something shifts not just in them, but in you. You stop fighting the world. You start embracing it. But compassion doesn't mean letting everyone in. It doesn't mean saying yes to energy that harms your peace. Real compassion is balanced. Soft heart, strong boundaries. You can love people and still protect your space. You can forgive them and still walk away. You can care deeply without drowning in their waves. Think of it like standing by a river. You can admire its flow, feel its beauty, but you don't have to jump in every time it floods. That's emotional wisdom. You're not responsible for saving everyone. You're responsible for not losing yourself while trying. Start noticing how you feel around people. Do you leave lighter or heavier? Calmer or more anxious? Peaceful or drained? Your body always knows. Pay attention. Surround yourself with those who speak gently, who listen without fixing, who allow silence without discomfort. These people, the ones who hold space instead of filling it, are the ones who help you heal faster than any medicine. And if you don't have those people yet, don't worry. Sometimes you have to become one first. Be the calm voice, the safe space, the listener. You'll attract what you are. There's a woman I once knew named Margaret. She started a tea circle at her church. Just 5 women in their 60s meeting once a week to talk about anything and everything. Health, grief, family, old love stories. At first, it was just small talk. But over time, they started sharing deeper things, regrets, fears, moment of loss. They cried together, laughed together, and healed together. She told me, it's not therapy, it's friendship, the honest kind. And that's the thing. Healing doesn't always need big solutions. Sometimes it's just being seen by someone who says, I've been there too. People are mirrors. The calm ones reflect your peace back to you. The wounded ones show you where you still need to heal. When you understand that, relationships stop feeling like battles. They become lessons. Maybe that friend who always tests your patience is teaching you boundaries. Maybe the loved one who never listens is teaching you how to speak your truth clearly. Maybe the stranger who smiles at you on a bad day is reminding you that kindness still exists. When you look at life this way, everyone becomes a teacher, even the difficult ones. One of the fastest ways to heal your own heart is to help someone else heal theirs, not by fixing their problems, but by being present, by listening without judgment. You never know what a simple "how are you really doing" can do for someone. Sometimes that's the moment they decide not to give up. And giving doesn't always mean grand gestures. It can be a smile to a stranger, a call to someone lonely, a kind word to someone who's usually overlooked. Every small act of compassion plants a seed of peace, both in the world and in you, because what you give out emotionally always finds its way back. So tonight, think about this. Who in your life brings you calm? Who makes you feel safe enough to be real? Reach out to them. Say thank you, or simply sit in silence with them. Connection doesn't always need words. Sometimes presence is enough. And if you've been feeling alone lately, remember this. You are never truly alone. There are people out there, maybe even right here in this community, who understand your quiet battles. We're walking this path together. If this talk gave you comfort, please like this video, share with someone who might need a little light tonight, and subscribe so you don't miss the next part, where we'll explore how forgiveness frees your heart from the weight of the past. Until then, keep your circle gentle, your heart kind, and your boundaries strong, because love in its purest form doesn't trap you, it frees you, and that's the kind of love worth keeping. Before we begin, take a slow breath with me. Inhale peace and exhale everything you don't need tonight. Let it go. You've made it through this whole journey, learning to find calm, to practice gratitude, to build resilience, and to connect with kindness. But there's one last piece we haven't fully opened yet, one that can either free you or quietly keep you stuck. It's called forgiveness. And I know that word can feel heavy. It's not easy. Sometimes the wounds go deep. Maybe someone betrayed your trust, broke your heart, or said words that still echo inside you. Maybe the person you struggle to forgive is yourself. But tonight, we're not going to force anything. We're just going to sit with forgiveness gently, not as a rule, but as an invitation. So, if you're ready to breathe a little lighter, stay with me till the end. And if you find a bit of peace here, please subscribe and help this message reach someone else who's been carrying their pain too long. Forgiveness doesn't mean saying, "It's okay." It means saying, "I'm done carrying this." It's not about letting someone off the hook. It's about unhooking yourself from their story. When you hold on to resentment, you keep that wound open. Every time you replay the memory, every time you tell yourself, "They don't deserve my forgiveness," you give the pain another life. But when you forgive, you quietly take your power back. You stop letting what hurt you keep defining who you are. Sometimes we think forgiveness makes us weak, that it means we've given in. But forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. It means remembering without bitterness. It's standing in the ashes of what hurt you and saying, "I'm still here and I choose peace." I once met a woman named Lillian. She was 70, gentle smile, but eyes that carried decades of hurt. Her sister had betrayed her years ago over an inheritance. They hadn't spoken since. One day she said, "I realized I was drinking poison, hoping my sister would get sick." That image stayed with me, because that's what resentment is. Slow poison. It doesn't harm them. It drains you. So she wrote her sister a letter, not to send, just to write. She wrote every painful word, every disappointment, every "how could you?" Then she read it out loud under the open sky and burned it. As the paper turned to ash, she said, "I felt something lift off me, like a chain I didn't know I was still dragging." That's the power of release. Forgiveness doesn't always need a conversation. Sometimes it's just between you and the sky. But you know who's hardest to forgive? Yourself. The things you said, the chances you missed, the mistakes that still wake you up at night. We replay them over and over. The I should have known better. The why did I let that happen? The if only. But here's the truth. You were doing the best you could with the understanding you had back then. You can't grow into who you are now without having been who you were then. So maybe it's time to forgive that past version of you. Not because they were perfect, but because they were trying. They got you here. Tonight, maybe whisper to yourself, I forgive me. Even if you don't fully feel it yet, say it. Healing starts with permission. When you forgive, you don't erase the past. You reclaim the present. You start sleeping better. You start breathing easier. You stop replaying the same scene in your mind. Forgiveness gives you your energy back. It's like opening a window in a dark room. Light comes in not because the room changed, but because you did. And something else happens too. Compassion grows. Once you've forgiven deeply, you start seeing other people's pain differently. You stop taking their behavior so personally. You realize hurt people really do hurt people. And sometimes forgiving them doesn't free them. It frees you. A man I know, Peter, shared this story with me. His father left when he was a child. For decades, Peter carried that ache. I used to say I'd never forgive him, he told me. Then one afternoon, as he was watching his own son play in the yard, he whispered, I don't know what my father went through, but I know what he missed. In that moment, something softened. He didn't call his father. He didn't need to. The forgiveness was already alive inside him. He said, I didn't do it for him. I did it for me and for my boy. So he'd grow up learning that pain doesn't have to become anger. That's how forgiveness ripples, quietly across generations. So how do you start? You start small. Don't try to force big forgiveness all at once. Begin with intention. Each morning whisper, may I be free from anger. May I wish peace for those who hurt me, even if from afar. You don't have to feel it right away. Just say it. The heart often follows the words. If it's too painful, write instead. Or pray. Or walk. Or sit in silence and imagine yourself lighter. Every little act of release counts. You don't owe anyone a conversation or reconciliation. You owe yourself peace. Forgiveness is the final step in coming home to yourself. It doesn't mean the story never mattered. It means it no longer controls you. You learn to bless the lesson and let the pain rest. And the moment you do, something beautiful happens. You create space for joy again. The laughter comes easier. The mornings feel softer. You stop waiting for apologies and start living your life. You realize that peace isn't about what others do. It's about what you choose to let go of. So tonight, before you sleep, think of one person or one version of yourself who still holds a piece of your pain. Picture them, breathe deeply and whisper, I release you. I release me. Then let the silence do the rest. Forgiveness doesn't happen in one night, but every time you choose to loosen your grip, you move closer to freedom. If this talk brought you peace, please like this video, share it with someone who's been holding on to old pain, and subscribe to stay part of this healing circle. Next time, we'll talk about how to live forward, how to rebuild your joy, your purpose, and your light once you've let go of the past. But for now, rest easy. You've come so far. And tonight, you deserve to be free. Hi, my friend. You made it here to this part of the journey. Take a deep breath with me. In and out. Let your shoulders soften. Let your heart rest for a moment. You've walked through pain. You've practiced letting go. You've forgiven, maybe not completely, but enough to breathe again. And now comes a part that's both exciting and unfamiliar, rebuilding. After healing, there's this quiet space that opens up inside you. It feels strange at first. No more constant storms, no more noise from the past. Just silence. But don't mistake that silence for emptiness. It's the sound of new beginnings. Tonight, we'll talk about how to fill that space, how to rebuild your joy, your sense of meaning, your purpose, not by rushing, but by remembering who you are beyond the pain. And if this kind of gentle reflection gives you peace, take a moment to subscribe and join this space where healing hearts learn to live again. You see, after you've done the hard work of forgiving and releasing, life can feel quiet. Some people call it peace. Others call it loneliness. But it's really a transition, a moment before the new chapter begins. It's okay if you don't know what comes next. You spent so long surviving that sometimes you forget how to simply live. Rebuilding isn't about becoming a new person. It's about remembering the parts of yourself that pain made you forget. The parts that still love deeply, laugh loudly, dream freely. Maybe you used to paint, or sing, or walk barefoot in the grass. Maybe you used to care for plants, or write letters, or sit in cafes watching the world go by. Those little joys, they're still waiting for you. Personal story, rediscovering joy. I once met a woman named Claire. She was 67 and had gone through a tough divorce after 35 years of marriage. When I met her, she said, "I don't even know who I am without him." But little by little, she started doing things she hadn't done in decades. She joined a book club. She started gardening. She took short trips alone, something she'd always wanted to do but never did. A year later, she said something beautiful to me. "I stopped trying to get my old life back. I started building a new one that fits who I am now." That's what healing looks like. Not going back, but going forward with softness and strength. So where do you begin? Start small. You don't need to have a grand purpose waiting on the horizon. Purpose grows quietly, like sunlight through curtains. Ask yourself, what makes me feel alive? Not what makes me look successful, not what others expect, but what makes my soul breathe. Maybe it's helping someone. Maybe it's learning something new. Maybe it's just being more present in your mornings, feeling the warmth of your tea, noticing how the light hits the table. Joy doesn't always roar back into your life. Sometimes it returns as a whisper, a soft reminder that life is still worth touching, tasting, trying. Happiness after healing feels different. It's not loud or perfect. It's simple. It's not, "I'm over it." It's, "I'm okay even with it." It's smiling while washing dishes because you're grateful you have a home. It's walking alone and realizing you're not lonely, just peaceful. It's learning that joy isn't something you chase anymore. It's something you allow. So give yourself permission to be happy again, even if part of you still hurts. Healing and joy can exist in the same heart. You don't have to be completely healed to start laughing again. You just have to be open to the possibility that life still has beautiful things left for you. Let me tell you about Michael. After his wife passed, he fell into deep sadness. For years, he did the bare minimum: eat, sleep, repeat. But one day, his neighbor asked if he could help her fix a broken fence. He agreed reluctantly. That one act led to another: helping repair a porch, delivering groceries, fixing a door. Soon, people around the neighborhood started calling him the gentle hand. When I asked him how he felt about it, he smiled and said, "Helping others made me feel alive again. It reminded me I still have something to give." And that's the thing. Joy often returns through service. When you share kindness, You reopen your own heart. You start to feel connected again, not just to others, but to life itself. You can rebuild joy through small rituals. Start each morning with something you love, a song, a stretch, a prayer, or silence. Learn something new, even if it's just one small skill. Growth keeps the spirit alive. Move your body. Movement clears emotional dust from the corners of your mind. Spend time outside. Nature heals in ways no book or advice ever could. Talk to people who lift your energy. Laugh often, even if the jokes are silly. Most importantly, don't rush this season. Growth doesn't happen by force. It happens by faith. Purpose doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be impressive. It just has to be yours. For some, purpose is caring for their grandchildren. For others, it's creating art or volunteering, or simply being a calm voice in a chaotic world. Your purpose might even be this: waking up, breathing, and choosing to try again. That's enough. You're enough. So tonight, I want you to sit quietly for a few minutes. Place your hand over your heart and whisper, "I'm still becoming," because you are. Healing isn't the end of your story. It's the beginning of a new one where you build from peace, not pain. You've survived the storms. Now it's time to plant gardens. If this message touched your heart, please like this video, share it with someone who's ready to start again, and subscribe so we can keep walking together to the final part of this journey, where we'll talk about how to live with purpose, presence, and peace every single day. You've earned this new beginning. Now let's fill it with light. Hey, my friend, take one slow breath, in and out. Do you feel that? That gentle rise and fall? That's life itself, moving through you. We've walked a long road together, through pain and forgiveness, through rebuilding and rediscovering joy. Now here we are at the quiet end of the journey, which isn't really an ending at all. It's a beginning, because once you've healed, once you've learned to stay calm and kind in the middle of life's chaos, there's one last thing left to do: to live, not just survive, not just get through the day, but to be here fully. If this message brings you peace, take a moment to subscribe and stay close. Because what we're building here isn't just a channel, it's a sanctuary, a place for souls who are ready to live softly, deeply, and fully awake. To live with presence means to stop waiting. Not waiting for the perfect moment or the perfect person or the perfect version of yourself. Presence says, this is it. This breath, this sound, this sky, this is life. It's the way sunlight filters through your window. The way coffee smells in the morning. The way your heart beats when you laugh. The present moment is where peace hides in plain sight. It's never been lost. We just forget to notice it. So, the next time your mind starts racing, gently bring it back. Feel your breath. Listen to the room. Notice one small thing that's good right now. Maybe it's the warmth of your blanket. Maybe it's the sound of rain. That's it. That's life happening. Right there. I once met a man named Richard. He was 74 and had spent his entire life running, chasing goals, promotions, recognition. I didn't even know what my favorite color was, he told me, because I never stopped long enough to look. When his wife passed, something inside him shifted. He said, I realized I had built everything except peace. So he started walking every morning. No phone, no music, just walking, watching birds, saying hello to strangers, feeling the breeze. He told me, I thought I was learning how to slow down, but what I really learned was how to live. That's the secret of presence. When you slow down, life speeds up in meaning. Everything you love, every person, every season, every morning is temporary. That truth used to scare me, but now it feels sacred. Because when you realize nothing lasts forever, you stop taking things for granted. You start savoring. You say, I love you more often. You listen longer. You smile deeper. Impermanence isn't loss. It's a reminder that every moment is a gift. So instead of fearing change, you begin to dance with it. You learn to say, thank you for being here, even if only for a while. And when something leaves, a person, a season, a version of yourself, you can bow gently and say, it's okay. Thank you for what you gave me. Here's how you live peacefully every day. Start your morning with gratitude. Just one thought that says, I'm thankful to wake up. Move your body with kindness, not punishment. Speak gently, especially to yourself. Listen when someone talks, not to respond, but to understand. And at night, before you close your eyes, whisper, I did my best today. That's it. That's peace, not perfection, not control, but presence. And maybe tomorrow won't be easy. Maybe you'll forget everything we talked about. That's okay too. Peace isn't something you keep. It's something you return to again and again, like coming home. Story, learning to live again. Let me tell you about Grace. She's 80, lives alone, and every morning she sits on her porch with tea. When I asked her how she stays so joyful, she said, I just watch the world wake up, the sky changing colors, the birds coming back. It reminds me that even if I don't do anything else today, being alive is enough. Then she smiled and said, when you stop needing more, everything feels like enough. And I think that's the wisdom we all grow into if we let ourselves. Presence turns ordinary things into miracles. A shared meal becomes communion. A walk becomes meditation. A smile becomes a prayer. When you stop rushing, you start seeing. And when you start seeing, life opens its arms. That's what I want for you. Not a perfect life, but a present one. One where you notice how beautiful the small things have always been. So now, as this journey closes, remember this. You are not who you were when you started. You're softer now, stronger too. You've learned how to breathe through storms, how to let go, how to forgive, how to live again. And maybe, just maybe, you've learned the most important truth of all. Peace isn't found at the end of the path. Peace is the path. It's in the way you treat yourself when you fail. It's in the way you pause before reacting. It's in the way you open your heart, even when the world feels cold. So tonight, when the world grows quiet, put your hand over your heart and whisper, I am here, and this is enough. If this journey touched your heart, please like this video, share it with someone who needs a little peace tonight, and subscribe so we can keep walking together through more reflections, more calm, more healing, because this isn't goodbye. It's a pause. You and I will meet again in the quiet spaces where words fade and peace begins. Until then, keep breathing, keep noticing, and keep living gently. You are light. You are love. You are here. And that truly is enough.